What's up, fuckers and pamangkins? It's been a while. It's been a while, I know. Whew. Yeah, how have you guys been lately? Lesser restrictions now. I know the last video was around second week of May. Yeah, 2 months now, but I think that was enough time. It was enough time if you're following this channel, or if you've watched the first video. I think it's enough time for you to decide, right? 2 months probably. If you've been riding 4 or 5 times a week, it's enough time for you to decide on what to actually get. Remember, if you guys haven't watched the first episode, please do watch the first episode. Same channel, same old ugly mug. But yeah, my first advice was, use whatever bike's laying around and just ride the shit out of it. And then after probably 3-6 months, you can finally decide. A lot of tips there. You guys should watch that. But before we start this third episode of Tito Mon Rides, I'd really appreciate it if you guys would like and subscribe to the channel. It would help a lot. If you like the content that you're about to watch, please smash that like button and then click on that subscribe button. Okay, so on with episode 3. What's up, guys? Okay, so now that you've ridden whatever bike's laying around, or maybe you bought a cheap, maybe you didn't have a bike at all, so you bought, you followed my advice and bought whatever cheap bike was available. I know there's a bike shortage. There's a global bike shortage. A lot of people are talking about it, but yeah, you're gonna find one. The cheap ones are easy to find. You can go anywhere. And if you're from the Philippines, just go to Cartimar and you're done. You can find a cheap, reliable bike there that you can use, that can jumpstart your cycling. So if you've been using an old bike, or if you bought a new one, just to jumpstart your cycling, you've probably figured out by now, if you're riding around 4 to 5 days a week. God, I wish I could still do that. But if you've been riding hard 4 or 5 days a week, you probably know what you want already. Alright, depending on what surface you're riding on. I mention surface because it's very, very important. A lot of people here will just off the bat tell you, get this kind of bike, without even asking, where do you live? Most important question of all, where do you live? The moment you step out the house and you ride your bike, is it what? Is it flat surfaces? Is it tarmac? Is it asphalt? Is it cement? Asphalt or cement won't really matter. It's just a lot easier to ride on asphalt. Basically, that's tarmac. That's flat. Or the moment you step out of your house, you have a trail. That's very different. Or do you just basically use your bike to commute, or as a means of commuting to and from work? Depends on where you found yourself riding. This is very important because as you can see, I have my road bike behind me. I didn't start off with a road bike like I told you. I started out with a mountain bike. It was just lying around here, and I just found myself not going to trails. Although there's a trail nearby, I never went to that trail because I figured out I was too old for trails, and I just stayed on the road here in BGC. So eventually that led me to just get a goddamn road bike, and happiest purchase. Never regretted it. But enough of that. So where did you find yourself riding? Was it on roads, or was it on trails, or did you find yourself always with your friends? What did your friends ride, and where did you guys ride? Were you alone, and where did you ride? All right, where? You know that answer by now. If you find yourself still thinking what bike to buy, just recall the past few months you've been riding, and you'll figure out the answer. But I will give you choices, and there's a plethora of choices, okay? But your basics are, you probably will, the first bikes you're gonna find are mountain bikes, road bikes, gravel bikes. You'll know why I said gravel that way. Hybrids, or probably even a folding bike. Very popular. It's very. I think folding bikes are pretty easy to come by. It's easy to buy them. It's easy to it's easy to use them, and it's good to start off with that actually. So if you find yourself always on the road, on the city and streets, cities, get yourself either a road bike or a hybrid. Right? You don't need a mountain bike. You don't need a gravel bike, or you get yourself a folding bike. Right? Those are the basic bikes you need when you're always on the streets or always in the streets. It's a no fucking brainer. Okay. Now, what's a different? What's a hybrid and what's a road bike, Tito Mon? Okay, folding bikes, you probably know what it is. Um, you know what a road bike is? The one with drop bars, like the one behind me. And then a hybrid is similar like a mountain bike. It doesn't have drop bars. It has the flat bar, but instead of the front part of the bike, it's called your fork. Alright, it doesn't have suspension there. It's a rigid fork, just like what you can see behind me. That over there is a rigid fork. Usually, hybrids would have something like that, and then with a flat bar, and then not this. That's a drop bar. Okay, with a flat bar, and it's why is it called a hybrid? Because it's a cross between a mountain bike and a road bike, something like that. Okay, and it's more comfortable because on this bike behind me, you're gonna get into a very very aggressive position. Some people, a lot of people, it will not appeal to a lot of people. Okay, it just so happens that I don't get any back pains here, neck pains. It's comfortable for me. I love riding the road bike, so that's what I got. But if it's something that you don't like, if it's a position you're not comfortable with, get a hybrid, and you'll be happy. My fiance has a hybrid, and she's loved it. She was supposed to get a gravel bike with drop bars. I made her ride it. I made her test it, and she just said no. This is I don't like the position. So, and there was a hybrid. At that same bike shop, there was a hybrid. She tried it, and she never looked back. And until today, she rides it every now and then. Okay. Now, if you found yourself on trails, single tracks trails, wherein you get some I mean, if you're really used to it, you can do some jumps and very uneven ground, get a mountain bike. Get a fucking mountain bike, and never turn and enjoy that adrenaline rush, the the up and downs and the ramps and the jumps. Enjoy that. I mean, if you're always on the trail, if you and your friends end up putting your bike inside the car, or having a bike rack and then driving somewhere where there's a trail, or probably riding to a place where there's a trail, go for it. Get the fucking mountain bike, buy a fucking mountain bike, and enjoy those trails. All right. And then what else? Well, the folding is basically a folding bike. We all know what that looks like for the streets, on the road. It's one of those things that can really jumpstart your cycling hobby, and get you deciding whatever it is you want to buy. Not unless you've decided that, yeah, I want to ride a bike, I want to get fit, and I want to use this just casually on the weekends, and on the weekdays I use it for work. Folding bike would be perfect for you. I mean, you don't need speed and all that. So there. Now the controversial gravel bike. A lot of people on the spot will tell you, the moment you ask them, I want to get a bike, what's a good bike? Get a gravel bike. Lo and behold, you go to any bike shop, we don't have any gravel bikes. We've run out of gravel bikes. It'll take X number of months before the next batch of gravel bike arrives, and you won't be able to purchase it because there's a long list. Okay, a gravel bike is something like a road bike. The only difference is that it has a more relaxed geometry. Geometry is the way a frame is built. So the angles it's similar to a road bike, but the angles are more. It's a more relaxed geometry, so that you can be more comfortable riding it, and it will accommodate larger tires, larger tire sizes. Okay, most road bikes will only accommodate 23, and the most would be a 28, right? Yeah, those are your basic road bikes that they can accommodate from size 23 to size 28 tires. But gravel bikes, I was out on the road a while ago, and some dude on a gravel bike was he had 38 seats. He had 38 tires. So he had 38 size 38 tires, 700 by 38, yeah, something like that. They will accommodate larger tires because they're for the gravel. They're for gravel riding, not single track. It's going to be very difficult to use a gravel bike for where mountain bikers go. It's hard for single track. It'll take some skill. I'd rather you buy a mountain bike and do those trails. A gravel bike is like in the middle of trails and a road, your normal flat streets. All right, it's supposed to be just loose dirt, gravel, and that's usually flat. It can be a little bit, you can have a couple of climbs or probably a couple of bumps on the road. Your tires can take it, but yeah, it's not really for what mountain bikers do. For those big jumps, for those single tracks, it will take more skill for you to ride your gravel on a single track, and then so you just rather buy a mountain bike, okay? So what's the big hype with the gravel bike? Because they all say it's an all-rounder. It's an all-around bike. The only reason why I'm very particular as to what surface you're always riding on is because of efficiency. All right, I want you to be very, very efficient whenever you're on your bike. Okay, when you get addicted to this hobby, you will one day come across a video or come across somebody talking about efficiency. Okay, how efficient you are, how fast and how strong you can go depending on what surface you're on and what bike you're riding. And this is the reason why, if you're gonna tell me you want a gravel bike, because your normal routine would be, your normal ride would be a 40-kilometer ride, and that ride includes what, 500 meters or a kilometer of gravel, and that's why you're justifying why you need a gravel bike. I'm gonna tell you, you're fucking dumb. Buy a fucking road bike, enjoy the goddamn shit. All right, I have two friends, one in Canada and one in the US, I think in California. The one in California, the moment you step out of his house, full gravel, flat, kilometers and kilometers of gravel. I follow him on Strava, and he's always on gravel. He's shot some video already from his house, 20 kilometers wherever he goes, it's all gravel. Hence, he has a gravel bike. It's not trails. It's not in the middle of a fucking forest or in a very a place with a lot of trees, and then you get to make jumps, and no hops, no jumps, nothing. It's just flat gravel. Hence, he bought a fucking gravel bike. Another friend of mine in Canada also bought a gravel bike, because the moment you step out of his fucking house, all gravel, kilometers of gravel. All right, if that's you, if that's what you have, then fine. Or if you're that type who will buy a gravel bike because you and your friends, put your bikes inside the car, or you have a rack for your bike, and then you travel to, where there's gravel and that's where you ride, then fine, get a gravel bike. But if you are always going to be on the road, if you're going to be on the road 95% of the time, and there's only like 1% to 5% chance that you're going to be on gravel, that's fucking stupid. Don't buy a gravel bike. Get a road bike. If this is too aggressive for you, get a hybrid and enjoy the shit out of it. Okay? Because it's easier to enjoy a bike if you're riding it on the right surface. Okay? Just to give you an example, watch one of the highlights of Paris-Roubaix. It's a single race wherein there are parts wherein they race on cobblestones, and they use road bikes, not gravel. And those cobblestones, they're not level, all right? They are uneven. They are uneven. They are really jagged, and it's really a bumpy ride. And the most you're gonna see is a guy on a road bike on 28 tires. Some just use 25 clincher tires, and then they just are tubeless, and then they just take out some air, and that's good. Oh, and those are cobblestones. Those are cobblestones. Really bumpy ride. They're not using mountain bikes. They're not using gravel bikes. They're on their fucking road bikes. So don't tell me you need a fucking gravel bike just because you have like a patch of gravel every time you ride, but you have kilometers and kilometers of road. Fuck. Stupid. It's gonna be a bad purchase, and you're just gonna end up kicking yourself and saying, "Fuck, I should have gotten something else." But like I said, if the moment you step out of your house, or if you want to bring your bike to places where there's gravel, and that's where you're always gonna be fine, buy a gravel bike and then your heart's content and just ride the shit out of it. All right. Always base your choice of what bike to buy based on the discipline or on the surface. All right. Or on the surface that you're gonna be always on. Okay, it's just the way it is. You will be more efficient. It'll be a lot safer even for you. Okay. Now, when you get a bike, this is one of the most important things. All right, regardless of whatever brand that is, make sure you buy the right size. Okay, there will be depending on what kind of bike you're gonna buy. Just go to any website, use fucking Google. If you can Google for porn, you can Google for bike size. Look for a bike size chart. Google will help you. Alright, there's a bike size chart for road bikes, for mountain bikes, or whatever bikes you need. Use that. Alright, or if you have a trusted bike shop, ask your friends. What's the bike shop they trust the most? Go there and ask the guys there to help you. Alright? Try to avoid buying online. You gotta support your local bike shops because we're still going through a pandemic and they need your help. Okay, so just go to a bike shop and get it fit. Alright? It's one of those mistakes I made. And I'll probably share that one of these days. But for now that you want to get that first bike, now that you're finally ready to pull that trigger and buy a proper bike for whatever you're gonna do, go to a bike shop. Ask your friends where they go so that you can get the best advice and you can get a good fit, and that you don't waste your money on a bike that's either too big or too small for you. And after you get that bike, other than the most fun would be riding that bike. The second most fun, the most fun thing to do after you get that bike is you accessorize it. You buy all the shit you need. That's gonna be our next episode. Until then, I'll see you all fuckers and pamangkins. You have a great day. Bye-bye.